How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Positive Mindset Podcast, where we come together to raise our vibration, lift our perspective, and build a positive mindset. My name is Henry, and I'm so thankful to have each and every one of you here today because in this episode, we're going to make that shift. We've been talking about stepping into our positive energy. We've been doing the methods, but in this episode, we're really going to pull that into our life so that it can move forward with a positive mind and create a positive experience. But before we get started, we're going to take a few moments to slow down, zero in. We're going to take some deep, healing, meditative breaths to help us align on the frequency that we want in our lives. So pick a word. It could be love, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever frequency you want. And we're going to take a deep breath in. And as you're breathing in, you're going to say this word over and over and over again. Really charge yourself up with that energy. And then as you're holding your breath, visualize yourself doing something in that frequency. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And out. We're going to take another deep breath. This one's about alignment, about getting ourselves in receiving mode so we can receive the message that we need to hear to get us in that positive mindset. So just imagine that you are surrounded by the most healing, positive energy that's meant specifically for you. It could have a certain color, a certain taste, a certain smell, however you imagine. And when you breathe it in, it's going to charge you up. It's going to break down the negativity, the blocks, the weight, everything that's just been holding you back. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in. And out. So the positive mindset, the positive experience, it's something that we desire. It's something that we want to live with. And a lot of times, if you're tuning into this, maybe you've been struggling for a while, but I've noticed that a lot of times something has happened. Maybe it's a loss that you've experienced. Maybe it's a heartache. Maybe it's a pain. It's something that within you just hurts and you want to get into that positive state of mind. You want to see the good in the world. You want to experience love and light. So you tuned in something called the Positive Mindset Podcast. Well, if there's one thing that you could understand, it's this. Mindset has two words, mind and set. Your mind is the perception glass. It's like how we see. It's the lens that we experience this life in. Set is the frequency that you're set on. You see, that your frequency is what you frequently see. So where your perception is set, that's what you'll see. Your perception is reception. Well, words are some of the most powerful indicators of the frequency around you. And you can place words into your mind and into your experience. Why allow subconscious words, programmed words, or more importantly, subconscious frequency or programmed frequency dictate your experience? Remember, your perception is reception. So if you're seeing those words, if you're hearing those words, if you're speaking those words, that's your perception. That's how you're going to receive. So what if you uplifted yourself? What if you made the positive shift? And you said some powerful things about yourself, some powerful things into the world over and over and over again. And then you were relentless on making them achievable, relentless on being the proof that you are those things. What do you think would happen to you? What if you gave yourself permission to say this, to say, you know what? This body has been experiencing this life up until this point, no matter how long it's been, whether it's 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 100 years, has been experiencing it. But today, I wake up. Today, I realize who I really am. This whole experience I've been having, I didn't know who I was. But today, from now going forward, I know who I am. Do you know who you are? Do you want to decide who you are? Or are you going to let the world tell you? Are you let the world going to tell you what's realistic? Are you going to let the world tell you what's possible? Are you going to let the world tell you what you're capable of? If you decide to do that, that's okay. That's what the majority of people do. But you want that positive mindset. You want to set your mind on the positive frequency. You want to level up. So you've got to incorporate some beliefs about self, some thoughts about some self, some tracking, some ways to indicate, what am I paying attention to? What am I on? Your self-talk is the way there. Imagine if every day you just said, I am the best. I am the best at my job. I am the most wealthiest coach in the world. I am the most helpful coach in the world. I am the best podcaster in the world. I'm in the best shape of my life. And you just repeated that over and over and over. And then every single day you took action in alignment with that. What do you think would happen? Do you think things would stay the same? Do you think your experience would stay the same? If you think yes, then you're really discounting the value of you. You're not recognizing that you are an observer and creator of your experience. In fact, you're the observer and creator of your experience. Nobody's observing your experience better than you. You just have to become aware. You have to become aware that what you observe, you create. It's not the other way around. You don't create and then observe it. You observe and then you create. That's how it goes. So when you speak something, then you're observing it, and then you're going to create whatever that is. Your creation power is your superpower. Your observation power is how you control it. There's so much power in me getting you to think what I want you to think so that you end up using your power for me. That's what everything is happening. That's what the government's doing. That's what businesses do. That's what people do. And it can be for good or worse, better or worse. That's what's happening. So take it back to you. Give yourself permission to say, every day I'm feeding me first. Every day I'm aligning my pockets first. Every day I'm leveling me up first, because what you do is you give that version of yourself away. Make getting to know you, getting access to you, getting information from you the most valuable thing that anybody could ever get. If the most valuable thing in their life was spending a day with you, how valuable would you have to be to do that? Extremely valuable. And it can be in whatever your niche is, whatever you're called to love. You don't have to be a coach. You don't have to be a positive mindset person. You could be a designer. You could be in real estate. You could be a fisherman. You could be a artist. Whatever you're called to be, you're not called to be the lowest example of it. You're called to be the highest example in your unique way. The highest example is not the most famous one. It's not the most wealthy one. It's not the most known one. It's the most you one. Everything is expanding. So you don't need to expand into what others do. You need to expand in what you're called to be. And that's really inconvenient for people. It's hard. I can tell you from personal experience, it's hard to decide that you want to be something more now. If you were doing that from day one, then you're used to that hardness. Everyone's aware of what you're going to do, who you're saying you're going to be, and they know the boundaries in that. They know that you don't put up with certain things because that's how you've been from day one. But if you're waking up today, it's February 28th. If you're waking up today and saying, now I'm different, now I'm growing, now I'm expanding, now this is going to be my experience, everyone's going to have a hard time with that because they don't see you, they see the reflection of themselves in you. So when you start changing, it's going to challenge what they're comfortable with. And then they're going to challenge you because they don't want you to go. They don't want you to expand. And it's not a conscious thing. I mean, for sure, there's some people consciously that don't want you to win. But subconsciously, people don't want you to change because that changes what's possible. And if you change what's possible, then they have to face the fact that they are choosing to stay in their current level. I made a post on social media and I got some really interesting responses. And the original one was going to be, check on your realistic friends and see how they're doing. That's what I was going to say. If there's a word I don't like, it's certainly realistic. Because realistic means what's possible for them, or at least what they believe is possible. It's not what's truly possible. And they want you to be realistic too, because if you change what's possible, that means they have to face the fact that they're not doing more than what's possible. And that's hard. But you are so much more. You're the most amazing thing. I hope that you love you. I hope that you love your flaws. I hope you love your mistakes. I hope you love your failures, because those are not you. You've observed those. You've experienced those. Those have been part of the filter of your life. But you are a powerful being that has meaning. You are a powerful soul that's here for a purpose, and it's to rise up. It's to help others. It's to expand. It's to find your joy. When you find your joy and give that version of yourself to the world, that's powerful. You see, if the end result is always to give you away, and not to everybody, you don't have to be super famous. It could be just to your family. It could just be to your friends. It could be just to your community. It could just be to your partner, your kids. But when your sole goal is to give yourself away, then everything you do is ultimately selfless. You can be selfish in leveling yourself up and saying, I want to be the best. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be a god in this. I'm going to be the most well-known. I'm going to be the most famous. I'm going to be the most powerful. I'm going to be the one that everybody knows you can't be better than. And people would say, well, that's selfish. That's conceited. That's, holier than thou. But if your goal is to give that version of your way, if your goal is to give the best gift, which is you, away, then why wouldn't it? It'd be selfish to do the opposite. It'd be selfish to give the mediocre version of you away. The version of you that just did okay. The version of you that was just average. And again, it's not about success and money, meaning you don't have to be the wealthiest person. You don't have to be the richest person. You don't have to be the best shape. You don't have to be all those things. It's about being what you're called to be. Whatever you're called to be the best ultimate version of that and feed yourself with high frequency always. You should always perceiving from the highest frequency. If you want to dictate the frequency, pay attention to your thoughts. If you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you shouldn't be here, that you're a burden, that you make things worse, you are destroying you. It has nothing to do with the external. Even if other people are saying it, if you're letting that stay in your head, you're in control. Don't give that power away. Stop blaming other things. There can be things that happen to you. We can be victimized. We can be attacked. We can be punished. Those things are true. But you don't have to be the result of those things. You can choose to be, many people do. But you can choose to be more. If you've been listening to this long, which this episode's been going a little bit longer, you want to change. You want to do something different. You want to expand, and it doesn't matter your success up to this point. Maybe you're already a millionaire. How do you know you weren't supposed to be a billionaire and use that money to fund schools in your area? Use that money to make things nice, to change the community, to pay scholarships. How do you know that's not your calling? Maybe you're already in good shape, you're healthy. Well, what if you're supposed to do it at the next level? What if you're supposed to understand food to the level to which you can help other people find their way to your level of health? You're not going to lead people to be past you, or at least inspire them wise. Hopefully you train them and they can use you as a foundation to go to the next level. So why wouldn't you be the highest foundation that you can be? It's not better or worse. It's just about exploring your calling. Start calling yourself something powerful. Don't use the word realistic. Get that out of here. Be what's impossible. Be such a powerful being that people don't want to be around you because there is no excuse when they're around you. There is no reason they can't when they're around you. There's no reason it's not possible when they're around you. That's who I want to be. I want the only people that don't want to be around me are the type of people that don't want to be more. And it's not because I'm going to put them down. It's not because I'm going to tell them they're not enough. It's because I want to be the shining example of you can be anything in all ways. A true uplifter. If you're a true uplifter, people won't want to be around you. People don't want to take or admit that it's their fault they're not where they're at. People don't want to blame themselves unless there's something to be gratified from it. It is beneficial to be a victim now. There is a lot of stuff that can come your way if that's the route you go. But that's part of the deception itself. It's taking away from what you are. You are amazing. You are here for a reason. You're listening to this still. You didn't turn it off. You absolutely could have. This has been repetitive. But you just want to make that choice. You want to say, this is it. I'm never going back from now. So why don't you do it? Why don't you say this was the moment? 10 years ago, or 10 years forward, you'll look back and you'll say 10 years ago on February 28th, I listened to this random podcast from this random guy called the Positive Mindset Podcast. And that's when I decided I'm going to put my mind on a higher frequency. And from that point on, I never looked back. I wasn't perfect at it. I wasn't the best at it. But I just kept getting better. I kept trying. I kept evolving. I kept growing. I kept loving. I kept expanding. And here I am, 10 years later. You wouldn't recognize the me 10 years ago. That me doesn't exist. I've expanded. I've evolved. I've grown. I've healed. I've loved. I've forgiven. That's the version you know now. That's your path. Your path is to be the example in whatever inspires you. Uplift people. If your calling is going to help people, if your calling is going to uplift people, then it's from your higher self. If your calling is going to hurt people, if your calling is going to take from people, then it's from your lower self. They're not right or wrong. They're just different directions. Which direction do you want to go? Which experience do you want to have? What feelings, what energy do you want to give away? This is it. You are a God. I'm not saying you're the God. I'm not saying you're better than anyone else, but you might as well see yourself as the highest frequency thing there is. You will never be more than you believe you can be, so might as well believe that you're the highest. Might as well align your frequency with the most. Be a king, be a queen, be a god, be a goddess, be the savior, be the hero, be the victim. Whatever you want to be it. Be the one who always gets taken advantage of. Create that reality if you want. It's your experience. I am not looking for that one. I want to give away the best Henry possible. I want to give it to my family. I want to give it to you. I want to give it to the world. And then I want to be forgotten. And then I want the next generations, the next generations, the next generations to not even know why they're so uplifted. They just know that's the pattern within them because that's what I created. That's not going to come easy. That's not going to come without sacrifice. That's not going to come without heartache. That's not going to come without loss, because on each level of frequency that I rise up, there's things that have to stay on the lower frequency. There's things that you can't take with you. You can't change somebody else's frequency. Forcefully, you can be the example and they can choose to change it, but you can't make them change it. That's hard. And that's probably what a lot of you are struggling with right now. There's places, people, and things that you love on your frequency. You love them. They love you. And it'd be so easy to stay on the frequency, to stay in the patterns, to stay in the rhythms. You're not wrong for doing it. You're not right for changing. But if you stay, you will never be in a different frequency. You can try, but every time you try, it's going to pull you back in. You make it exist more, so it wants you there. Think about it. What are you going to do? Is next week going to look the same as this week? Is tomorrow going to look the same as today? Is next year going to look the same as today? Or will you be unable to recognize it because your perception is your reception? You've raised your frequency so high that you just don't even see things the same. You don't receive things the same. You're so abundant. You're so powerful. I want to end with my I am statements here as we wrap up this message. And some of them are really resonating right now. Some of them may not. But I am a millionaire and I work with millionaires. I am a millionaire and I receive millions of dollars a year. I am healthy and I make healthy decisions. I am love and I live in love and light. Find your I ams, because your I ams are your frequency. Level up and become the rising tide that lifts all ships. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode was impactful and gave you a positive perspective on whatever is going on in your life. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single episode, make sure you subscribe to my email list. There's a link down below. It will keep you up to date with every single episode. And if you want to follow me on social media, there's my Instagram and TikTok down below. I appreciate all the follows there. I've had a lot of you reached out about one-on-one coaching. It is still available. Again, currently, I'm open to entrepreneurs only. My standard coaching is full. If you're an entrepreneur or a high-level executive and you want to make the positive mindset shift, you're looking around your life, you're looking around in your mind, and you know that there's something more. You know that if you adjusted your perception, if you're able to get yourself out of the rut, get yourself out of the hurt, get yourself out of the pain, that you could impact so much more. If that's you, I'm going to have 3 more spots. The max capacity on this is 4. Because of the involvement, because of the time commitment, because of the energy exchange, it's 4. If you're interested, and again, there's still a process past here, but if you want to talk more, you can message me on Instagram, or there's a link down below. There's my email. You can message me on email. Either one is fine. If you fill that out, I will get back to you and we can talk a little bit more. And ultimately, even if that's not the right fit, I always want to help. I always want to provide a positive perspective. So that's there. This is not an inexpensive program. I do have those. Those are just full at the moment. This one, just off the bat, I want to tell you it's $12,000 for the program. So if that's not a fit, that's okay. I will have more stuff, but this one is specific for a specific person. If you want more information, reach out down below. I'm looking forward to meeting you. It's been divine alignment so far. And there's very powerful energies in the divine. So if you're feeling that, let me know. I'd love to connect again. Even if it's not the right fit, I will still always do my best to help you. We're all in this together. That's the whole part of being the rising tide. I appreciate everybody for listening, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.